Hello, I'm Dr. Sperano. I'm going to show you how I created this template that you can use for your research paper. All right, and the reason why I'm doing this is I want you to use APA format 7, and I'm going to show you how how I created this template using built-in features of Word, but modifying some of those built-in features of Word, specifically in the reference man in the using styles and the reference manager to comply with APA format 7. All right. So the first thing I want to do, let's go over here. So the first thing I want to do is to add a page number, and I'll make this full screen. To add a page number, simply double click up in the margin, and it automatically brings up header and footer. I want to go to page number, top of page, and I want this one right here. I select this. Okay. And for APA format 7, I want you to use Times New Roman 12 as the font. So we shall select that, go to Home, and I want Times New Roman 12. Okay? So let me double click out of there, and that's fine. All right? And now let's go back over here. So we've got our page number. So now I want to type this stuff. There's nothing special here. I didn't use anything special, really, other than selecting the font size and selecting the spacing and the double spacing, really. Okay, so what I want to do here is let's go to paragraph. I want to make sure that we have double spacing, and we do. Or an easier way is go up over here. Double spacing, and I don't want anything here. This is fine, okay? And I'm on Times New Roman. I can always do Control A. It selects all of the text area that I'm in, and I want to make sure it says Times New Roman 12, and it does. So all I'm going to do here is actually, let me go to the top here. All right, I want to make sure that we are roughly 4 spaces down, I think, 3 or 4, and just start typing this stuff here. This is your name, obviously. This stays the same, this stays the same, this stays the same, but I want the current date. All right, let me do this off camera. All right, so I did all that. Again, nothing special. Just want to make sure that we are in Times New Roman, and I always want to make sure it's 2.0 and we didn't add any spacing. All right, so that's good. Now let's go to page 2 here. Okay, so I want to insert a page, so I'll put the cursor here, and I like to do this on full screen. I want to go to insert, and I want a page break. Automatically brings me into page 2. Let's go down here, and it gives me the number. Okay, and again, let me do a split screen here. So now on every page, on the top of every page, you need to reprint your title, not in the margin. Okay, we're not doing a running heading. You can do that if your professor asks you to. It's part of APA 6. It can be in APA 7. I don't need a running header. I just want this title on each page as the first line, and you can simply type whatever your title is there. It could be a shorter abbreviation of what your title is of here, but normally you want it the same. So I'm going to type this and type this first paragraph right over here. All right, what I want you to notice is that the title is here, and again, to make sure that it's Times New Roman 12, it's centered and it's bold, okay? And you start writing your information right here. If you notice here, let me just go over here to the instructions here. I'm looking for an introduction, but I don't want the title or the or the heading introduction. That's not part of APA. So simply start writing your introduction here with no heading, and the first line of the paragraph should be indented. How do you do that? I got my cursor blinking here. Go to paragraph, under the indentation, select first line. Okay, again, make sure these are 0, make sure this is double, and say OK, and we are doing just fine. All right, so far so good. Excuse me. All right, now we're going to get into some of the features, specifically using the styles feature of Word. All right, so strategies of management, if we go back over here to the instructions, I want that as one of the headers, and risk analysis as a header, heading, I'm sorry, and crisis management plan as a heading, and they are all heading ones, and then we're going to be going to using heading twos. All right, so let's go back over here and go to here. All right, oops, and I want to go back actually to here. All right, so how do I make this a heading using the styles? And I'm going to show you why you want to do that towards the end of the presentation. All right, so let me just go over here. All right, click here, hit enter. All right, and just for now, let's turn this off for now. Okay, so I go all the way over, and I'm just going to type strategies and management. Well, actually, what I'm going to do is, all right, I can do that. Let me just type strategies and management over here. All right, so I typed it. I want to make it bold, centered, and a heading 1. So let's make this full screen. First thing I want to do, let's select it, and I want to select heading 1. Okay, so now it's a heading 1, but it changed it. All right, it made her a bigger font, a different font, and different color, and I don't want that. But I can simply select it, go to the font that I want. Okay, go to 12. All right, I want black. All right, and I want it bold, and I want it centered. Okay, let me click outside, and it's still, you see a little tag right there? It's still using Windows style. If I click over here, let me click up over here, okay? Notice that it goes to normal, but if I click on this, it goes to heading 1. So I'm still using that style. All right, I want that to be a heading 1, and I'm going to show you why in a few minutes. All right, so I just retyped this stuff here, and notice that that's still a heading 1, that's still a heading 1, that's still a heading 1, crisis management. Now notice, and of course according to the instructions over here, oops, what happened here? Instructions over here, I want a heading 2 over here under crisis management. So how do I do that? Let's get back to here. So what I'll do here, all right, I'll just simply start. I'm gonna type in all this. Well, I'm gonna type in the first one here. Let me just hit enter, and I'm gonna type in the word purpose. Okay. All right. So I typed in purpose. I want that to be a heading 2. So let's go back up over here. So I want to select it. Okay, and I want a heading 2. All right. Notice I got to format it correctly, so I want to go back up over here to Times New Roman, go over here to 12. I want the black, and according to APA, I also want it bold, but according to APA, a heading 2. Notice I select that, heading 2, I select that, heading 1. Heading 2 has to be left justified. Very important, okay? So that's how I created a heading 2, okay? Now, before I go any further, or I'm not going to create anything else here, conclusions, I want to go back down here, and conclusions here is another heading 1, so it's very simple. Let me just type in conclusions and change that to a heading 1, and you'll see what I mean. All right, I added another heading 2 here. So I want to make this go back to a heading 1, so I just typed in conclusions. Once again, you can just select it, go back to styles. Let's go back to home here, or insert. Where's styles? Design, that's not it. Oh, file, I'm sorry. Nope. Styles. Let's go back to home. Here we go. Style, we want to make that a heading 1, so select on heading 1. And once again, it is Times New Roman, 12, all right, black, and we want to make it bold, and we want to make it center. Okay? Easy as pie. All right. So why do I want you to use built-in features of Word such as headings? Okay, that's because I want a table of contents, and if you use the built-in features of Word, the headings, it makes it so much easier for the table of contents. Let me show you. I'm going to add a table of contents. Let me click here, and I want to insert a page. So I want to insert a blank page. Okay, and now here I want to insert a TOC. Alright, notice I've inserted a page. Now I'm on page 2, and I want to insert a table of contents. There's my title page. So I simply go up over here to references. I go to table of contents, and I like this one right here. So I select that. Now look what it did. Okay, it actually knows, okay, that these are part of my table of contents, and these right here, strategies and management, risk analysis, crisis management, and conclusions, are heading 1s, right? Remember we did heading 1s, and purpose and committee are heading 2s, so they're indented, okay, and it also gives me the page number there. All right, and by the way, if in fact these page numbers changed, let's do this. See, it has conclusions there. All right, and there's conclusion on page 3. If I were to just put a insert page, I'm going to insert a page here. I'm just going to insert a blank page. So it puts conclusions on page 4. What I do now, if I go up over here, click here and say update table. All right, update entire table. Say OK. Notice that just changed to 4. That's why I want you to use headings for the built-in features of Word. It makes it a lot easier. And of course, when we do our table of contents, I'm sorry, let's go back up over here. Okay, I want to select this, and again, all right, let's go over to Home, and this has to be Times New Roman 12. Okay, black, bold, and we'll do that center. Okay, now every time you update the table of contents, you're going to have to go in there and change that, but that's pretty easy to do. Okay, so, and then here's the body. Now I'm going to show you how to use the reference feature of Word. We're going to have a references page in here, and I'm going to add that at the end. Let me do a little more typing here, and we'll get back. Now let's say I want to add a reference right here, okay, and I put the cursor just to the left of the paragraph. Let's go to references, and I want to go to insert a reference, or insert a citation, if you will. Oh, I want to make sure it's APA, right? Make sure the style is, you select here, is APA. All right, this actually uses the 6th edition, but that's okay. It's close enough for our work here. So select that, and I want to add a new source, all right, and it's a book. You can there's a number of sources here. We want to add a book, and the book I want to add is the Disaster Recovery Handbook that we used. All right, so I want to type in the authors. I always like to go over here, edit, and type in the authors this way. Let me go to pause. All right, so I typed his last name, I'm sorry, Wallace, first name Michael, and that's one of the authors. I say add. I want to add another author, so let me type that in. So I've typed his name in. I'm going to say add, and I'm going to say OK. Puts them in here in the correct order and also the correct format. Okay. Now I'm going to type in the title of the book, the year, the city, the publisher. If I wanted to show more tags, I can click here, and everything in red is the red star is required. Okay. So really only this, I can just do this. This stuff here is really required. All right, but we'll keep that open. So I'm going to type in this information here. All right, so I did all that, and I'm just going to say OK. Notice not only does it put the reference here, but if I go to citation, if I want to use that reference again, all I have to do is click on it. For instance, let's say I want to use it here. Well, let me put a period here. Let's say I want to use it here again. Just put my cursor there, go to reference, and just select that, and it puts it there. Okay. Let's say I want to add another reference. I simply go up. I want to put a reference here with a different book. So I want to insert citation, add new source, and do the same thing over again, which I'm going to do. All right, so I did that. I say OK, and it puts that in right there. All right, so that's and they are APA. And there's some other things you can do here. If I wanted to edit this reference, I can just click here and go down here, and I can say edit this citation or edit the entire source. If I just wanted to edit that citation, I can. Sometimes they want you to suppress the author, the year, and the title, or the add page number, but I'm just showing you how to do that. So let's cancel out of that. Now, you've done this. Now you want to create your reference page. Let's go down here, and let's add another page. Let's go up here and insert a page break, and I want to add my reference page right here. All right, so I'm right here, and now I want to insert my reference page. So let's go back up here to references, and I want to say bibliography. Let's go down here, and I want it to look like, I want to say references. Okay, so I'll select this one right here, click, and lo and behold, there are my references. Okay, and it includes the two that I have. Now I have Wallace twice, but it only includes it once because you don't need it once in your reference page, but it's twice here. And I also have Stewart. Now, after you've inserted all of your references, then you want to change this to APA to the correct format. So I mean, it is in terms of how to style the reference, it is APA 6, but 7 is close enough for what we want to do here. But I would simply select the whole thing, right? Go up to home, and again, we want our Times New Roman, and we want 12, okay? And we want the references here. Again, I want that to be bold, but black, okay? And I want it centered, okay? And this looks very, very correct. Okay, and I would do that at the end. Now, I have references here, all right, but now what I want to do is go to my, it's not my table of contents. I need to update my table of contents. I go here, say update table of contents, the entire table, say okay, and it adds my references, okay? And of course, when you add more references as you write the paper, you select here. Oops. Oh, I changed this. Okay. I shouldn't have changed it. You do that at the very end because now I want to update this. But let me just delete this and do this over again, and I'll show you what I mean. All right, I just redid my references because what I wanted to show you was that just like I can update my table of contents, I can do the same thing here. If I've been adding more references, I'm not going to do that, but if I'm adding more references, you can simply go down here, right-click in here, click in here, and say update citations and bibliography, and it will do that if it had any more. Okay. Now, when you are all done, and notice it has references in there. When you are all done, that's when you can go in here and change this. You can select the whole thing, and then you can go back and change it to the correct font. And I showed you how to do that earlier. Okay, so I think that's it. I just wanted to show you how you can incorporate the built-in features of Word and make them APA 7 compliant. Okay, that's all I wanted to do. And you can download this template, review the video, download the template. I also want you to review the APA video that's in the class. All right, it's an excellent video on APA. All right, I wish you guys luck.